It's another month and another batch of records, so let's take a look at them. Kicking things off with Cirith Ungol. This is their latest album from 2020 entitled Forever Black. Great band. They are doom metal with elements of traditional heavy metal and hard rock. This is their 5th album. The first album from them in about 30 years. Again, it's been quite a while. This is definitely the classic lineup, but except for the bass player. The bass player came in about 2016. A lot of people think this band are from Europe because they have a lot of influences from European doom bands, Sabbath, of course, and Candlemass, but they're actually American. They're from California. Now, of course, you're going to get a bit of classic Cirith Ungol on this record, but there are some improvements as well. I think the production on this is way better than their stuff from the 80s and early 90s, which is their classic era. The vocals are really fantastic. I think they're way better produced. I think he sings a little bit better these days. Definitely, all around. Potentially, I think this is my favorite Cirith Ungol album to date, though I probably should admit I was a casual fan of their earlier stuff. I liked it, but was I crazy about it? I don't know. I am quite into this album, though. The vinyl comes in ice blue and black. There's the hype sticker, and I'll show you the vinyl. Looks like that. I like the old classic Metal Blade Records logo with the bloody axe. I never really liked that logo, the reworked logo they had later in the 80s and into the 90s, the one with the actual razor blade. I just thought it was too sterile. It didn't have any style to it. Style, of course, looks like this, I guess, but I like the old logo coming back. Also with this record comes a poster. I want to show that to you quickly. A very large poster, basically, of the artwork right there. Very, very cool. So if you like bands like Pentagram and maybe modern Paradise Lost, you're probably going to like this record. Even if you didn't like old Cirith Ungol, you should probably check this out. This is one of their best albums. Again, as I said, I think this is a bit of a comeback album, to be truthful. Yeah, definitely. So check this one out. Next up is the 2018 release of My Midnight Things from Lizzy Borden. Yes, Lizzy Borden. This is the 7th album for the band. Mostly it's Lizzy and some other folks, as is often the case. An interesting blend of musical styles here. There's definitely some 70s rock, some 80s LA pop metal, of course. There's a little bit of goth pop going on, and some musical theater, to be sure. I mean, look who we're talking about here. But it strangely works out. It's a fairly heavy album, given all of that. So, yeah. There is some confusion about whether Lizzy is doing every instrument on here except for drums, or if he has a bunch of other musicians doing the instruments on a given track that he isn't doing. The record says there are other people, at least the credits do, but everyone else on the internet is saying it's just Lizzy and a drummer, and I don't know which one it is. If you know, let me know in the comments, because they're pretty insistent that it's just 2 people. But let me know. I definitely dig this album. I think I like every track except for maybe a couple that are okay. There is a music video for the track Long May They Haunt Us. You should probably check that out to hear the music, but also to see Lizzy's latest visual experimentation, because, you know, he's always changing his image and always trying to be over the top and all of that. So yeah, definitely check that out. So the vinyl I got for this one is olive and black marbled vinyl. I got number 84 out of 300, in case you're curious about that. And it looks like this. Nice custom labels. Interesting little color. More or less fits the record. Maybe a little bit of blue would have made a little more sense, but, you know, looks good. A lot of what you're going to get here is an odd but maybe compelling mix of the classic Lizzy Borden, but also something rather new, and all the styles I had mentioned, of course. I would definitely say this is probably the best Lizzy Borden album in quite a while. Many years, I would say. It's good. You should definitely check it out. Next up is Slayer with their latest live album entitled The Repentless Killology. Came out 2019. It was recorded live at the LA Forum on August 5th, 2017. In fact, you want to see what that looks like. It's a lot like that. This is Slayer's 2nd live album following 1991's Decade of Aggression, so it's been quite a while. 2nd or 3rd if you include the somewhat faked live album they did back in 1984 called Live Undead. So as many of you know, Slayer did break up, so this might be the final musical release from this band. I think a live album is a really cool way to go out, and it's a good album. It's a strong live album, so I definitely am big on this one. There is a rumor going around, though, that Phil Anselmo will take Tom Araya's place on vocals and that Slayer will continue. That's a fascinating rumor. I don't know what to make of that. It would be weird if it was true. I'm going to say that right now, but I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say that's not going to happen. But watch me get proven wrong, and I'll still be like, what the hell just happened? There are some tracks on here I'm pleasantly surprised to see. I always like when there are deep cuts on a live album. Hallowed Point and Born of Fire. I was really psyched to see those. In fact, 13 of the 21 songs on here are from the classic era. And by classic era, I mean 1983 to 1990. So also nice to see. So the album is a soundtrack of sorts to the movie of the same name. The movie's kind of an odd beast. The first 20 minutes thereabouts are a mini movie, and then there are 3 music videos spliced into that mini movie, and then it's followed by the full concert, which this is. A lot of people didn't like the mini movie very much. I'm sure they skipped straight to the concert. I may or may not recommend that you do the same thing, because it is the good part of it. It's the best part of it. So, yeah. So my vinyl is the red with black and orange splatter. Probably the nicest variant of the lot. Limited to 500 copies. It might be the tougher one to get these days. But, man, look at that. And it goes well with the cover. Yeah. I also wanted to show the custom printed inner sleeves. Some great live shots of the band here. Great show. And, of course, some liner notes there. More credits here. And then shots of the band. Fantastic. So, live Slayer. And the first live Slayer album in 28 years. Well worth the wait. Definitely get this. Next up is the 2015 reissue of the self-titled debut album from the band Shadow Project. The album came out originally in 1991. And in case you don't know who Shadow Project are, they were a project, of course, started by Roz Williams and Eva O of Christian Death, which is a goth rock band. Of course, that's not strictly metal. This might be the record that sticks out in my vinyl haul a bit, but, you know, live to be a rebel, I guess. Anyways, the styles here that kind of differentiate it from Christian Death's goth rock. There's some alt rock going on. There's a lot of glam rock going on as well. I would say in the form of maybe David Bowie, because Roz was a big David Bowie fan. He kind of worships him a bit, and you can hear it in his vocal styles. There's a bit of goth metal going on too, so that might be one of the reasons I'm kind of wanting to put this in here. But also I just bought it, so I'm going to show it to you anyways. Subject matter here is death and religion. It seems to be the two topics that Roz was fairly obsessed with throughout his relatively short life. This band lasted until the late 90s. Eva O and Roz were married. They got divorced. And then Roz killed himself, I think on April Fool's Day of 1998, which is interesting or sad or whatever. Take your pick. I have tons of favorites on this record. I've had it for quite a while. Did I mention there was a different cover? I can't remember if I did. But let's see. Working on Beyond, Under Your Wing, Holy Hell is probably my favorite track. This edition from Cleopatra comes in red vinyl, which makes a whole lot of sense. So this band had 3 albums total. I like the second album a bit too, Dreams for the Dying. And the third album, I don't know if I really heard all that much of. I think it was okay. But I would have liked to have seen more of this band. I would like to see them go further, because I think this was a natural evolution from Christian Death. I think sometimes it's a better band than Christian Death. I'll probably get some flack from the goths saying that, but it's true. Yeah, it just wasn't meant to last. So there it is, Shadow Project. Next up, the mighty Venom. This is Seven Gates of Hell, the singles from 1980 to 1985. This is a 2016 reissue, originally came out in 2003. The tracks are amazing, of course. They come from EPs and singles. They do exclude the Assault EPs. That's American Assault, Canadian Assault, French Assault, Scandinavian Assault, German Assault. I think I'm not missing one. Let me know in the comments if I am. Of course, Venom, classic band, came out in 1979 out of the UK. Influential on a huge number of subgenres, or at least the big ones: thrash metal, speed metal, death metal, and most notably black metal. at least in name and maybe in lyrical content and imagery. Of course, they had an album out called Black Metal. It was their sophomore effort from 1982. Pretty interesting band. Are they the most talented band in the world? No. But, still, pretty great band. I love them. I won't apologize for it. I should let you know, I do have some of the 12-inch singles from which these songs were pulled. I'm going to put this down. I have Acid Queen. I have Warhead. Manitou. And, of course, Nightmare, which I'm not going to show you down there because YouTube will have a fit and the children will freak out. This is the uncensored cover to Nightmare, by the way. Regardless of the singles I do have, it's nice to have those and the rest of them here. I definitely never went after In League with Satan or Bloodlust. Those are kind of tough to get. They're early singles. And Satanicist, Possessed, not my favorite Venom album, so I didn't go after that. But great collection. Of course, it has a gatefold with the full story on the singles there. You can read that at your leisure after you pick it up, which you should do. Of course, I'm really wanting to go after that 2019 box set that Venom put out. Amazing collection of stuff there. I am going to get to that, but in the interim, I'm going to stick with this. It's a good time. Next up is the 2019 release of the 6th album for the band Ram. It's titled The Throne Within. These guys are from Sweden. They do new wave of traditional heavy metal mixed with power metal. Great album. I've been wanting to get this one for a long time. I finally have it. The guitar riffs on this album definitely skitter into classic accept territory. You can definitely hear that. Also a little bit of Judas Priest worship, especially in the twin leads that happen often enough in this album. That Downing and Tipton worship is definitely there. So the production has improved from previous efforts. It definitely works well with the material. Also, there are 3 music videos from this album. The Trap, Blades of Betrayal, and Spirit Reaper. Those are the Swedes in question. So the vinyl I got with this edition is the Ochre Brown Marbled Vinyl. I got number 63 out of 100. And this is what it looks like. Again, classic Metal Blade logo. Love it. Nice color. Fits the artwork well. So I'm really loving this album, and I definitely want to fill in the gaps in my Ram collection based on what I've heard here. So yeah. Next up is Destruction with Bestial Invasion of Hell. This is a vinyl version, came out in 2018, of the original 1984 cassette demo, which is pretty interesting. The recording's a little sloppy and a bit lo-fi, but it is Destruction, and it's a great way to hear the early material from them. Some songs that would later be classic. Songs like Mad Butcher, which came out on the 87 EP of the same name. Also Total Disaster, Antichrist, Satan's Vengeance, and Tormentor. There's a track on here called Front Beast, which I think is exclusive to the demo, which is interesting, but I kind of also see why it was chopped. It's okay. I would listen to it as a curiosity, as a Destruction fan, but it's really all the other material that's pretty good. I actually like the Mad Butcher version on here, and Antichrist in particular. So I think there's also a black vinyl variant, but I got the white one. This is limited to 400 copies. Nice custom labels there. I should also mention the artwork. The artwork, this in particular, was the design on a later release of the demo, later in 1984. I think it was the second pressing of the cassette. The original artwork is this design right here. And if you've got a tape, original cassette demo of it with this on the cover, you've got a collector's item for sure. I should also mention it has a gatefold with some pictures of the band, a write-up of the actual demo sessions. Also from the 3 members, they talk about their experiences with recording it. Really good stuff, I never had this on any format back in the 1980s, so I'm pretty excited to have it. And if you're a Destruction fan, you should own this because it's really fantastic. It's early history of the band, and it's fun to hear them in a maybe more primitive incarnation. But yeah, it's also the classic lineup there with Schmier and Mike and Tommy. So there you go. Destruction, Bestial Invasion of Hell. Next up is the 16th album from Vader entitled Solitude and Madness. Came out in 2020. Polish band doing death thrash. Doing it pretty well as well. What's nice about this record is they bring back some of the speed they had on previous efforts, maybe past efforts. Think 2000 and back maybe, which means that a lot of comparisons to Litany are going to be made. And I think some of those comparisons are somewhat fair. So we got a shorter album this time from this band, clocks in a little under 30 minutes. The tracks are fairly short as well, but that's not unusual for Vader. Vader's done a lot of 2 to 3 minute songs on average. Not a lot, but enough to go, it's a Vader thing. So keep that in mind when you're listening to this. So there is a music video for the track Into Oblivion. I would definitely recommend you see that. Also, this album comes with a gatefold. The vinyl variant I got here is Green Swamp with Orange. Looks a whole lot like that, with some nice custom labels, tracks on the back, and it also comes with a 4-page insert. Got a nice shot of the band, some lyrics, and some credits on the back. Ultimately, this is basically another straightforward Vader album, which many come to expect. Vader's a pretty consistent band, but also enjoy. I'm definitely in that camp. So yeah, definitely check out Vader when you get a chance. Next up is the 13th studio album from the legendary hard rock band Whitesnake. This is Flesh and Blood. Came out in 2019. I almost said British hard rock band, but it's funny because David Coverdale is the only Brit left in this band. Otherwise, it's an Italian and 3 Americans. Other than Coverdale, there are some other notable folks in this band as of current. Drummer Tommy Aldridge, you might remember him with Ozzy. He's also been with Whitesnake quite often. He left for a time, came back. Also, ex-Winger guitarist Red Beach is on here. He's been in the band since 2002 or thereabouts. And Joel Hoekstra, he played with Trans-Siberian Orchestra. He's on the other guitar. I think he replaces Doug Aldrich from the last incarnation. It's really a solid lineup. I'm pretty impressed with it. So music video and first single for this album was for the song Shut Up and Kiss Me, which is a good gauge of where the music is going on this record. Also, one thing I really like about this album is that it goes through a bunch of the band's musical evolution. There's definitely some of their early hard rock sound going on here, but also some of their 80s pop metal output and some modern hard rock as well. So I would definitely check this album out. I think you'll like it. Also, I should show you custom disc labels and on black. Some out there are saying that this is Whitesnake's best album in decades, and I think I'm actually starting to warm up to that opinion. It's bluesy, it's heavy, it rocks. It's a great album. It's a good blending of the old and the new. I would definitely recommend checking this out. Next up is the third full-length album from Swedish epic doom metal band Sorcerer. The album is called Lamenting of the Innocent. And some of you might remember if you saw the King Diamond reissue video I did, where I discussed how it might be cool if King Diamond did a music video for every song on Abigail, or Them, I can't remember which one. Keep that in mind because Sorcerer did just that. There are 9 music videos for this album, 1 for each track. Crazy. So some shades of Candlemass and Solitude Eternus are in the mix. I would also say that there's some hard rock sensibilities underlying it, maybe by way of Rainbow, just thinking of early power metal. I think it's in there. Maybe you have to listen for it a little bit more, but at least the spirit is there, and I kind of dig that. So my vinyl variant for this one is Ochre Brown Marbled, 500 copies with custom label. Pretty cool. Also, a poster came with this album. I'll show you that quickly. It is a wide poster, and so you get the album cover there, and it's a double-sided poster where you get the band on the other side. Pretty great. So a fantastic record, and it's definitely creeping up on my list of top 20 albums of 2020. Definitely check it out. So this last record I'm going to show you was a bit of a surprise. I wasn't expecting this. I didn't seek it out. But I did a video sometime back on vinyl grails I wanted. Really, really badly. And one of my viewers saw it. And one record in particular he had in his collection. And he was a very generous person because he sent it to me free of charge. Now, I tell you all this because I think it's going to blow your mind a little bit once I show you what record it is. And that record is Scream Bloody Gore from Death. So the cover and the vinyl are in excellent condition. And of course, original gray camo labels for Combat. Amazing. Of course, it also came with the original inner sleeve with the photo there and the blank side on the other. That's definitely original press. Of course, debut album for Death, 1986 is the year. And what's interesting about this record is, you see there are only 3 people on this record. There are actually only 2 people on this record. John Hand joined the band after this album was recorded, and he's just put there. It's really Chuck Schuldiner and Chris Reifert. Chris Reifert, of course, is a drummer. He later went on to form Autopsy, and he's still in Autopsy to this day. And yeah, cool stuff. Of course, some people consider this the world's very first death metal album. Other people contend that it's Possessed Seven Churches album, their debut effort. That's an age-old argument. If you want to have it in the comments, go at it. It's been done to death. Literally, done to death. Favorite tracks, of course, Zombie Ritual and especially Evil Dead. Love this album. Grateful to finally cross it off my Grail list. So, thank you, James, for sending this record. Hugely generous of you. Can't say thanks enough. And that's it for this episode of Vinyl Haul. Definitely let me know what albums you liked, what albums you didn't like, any other music suggestions from bands I named, or bands like the bands I named. Definitely let me know in the comments below. As always, like, subscribe, and share. Great ways to support the network. I appreciate it. And if you do subscribe, definitely hit that notification bell so you can get notified on each and every video I produce, because that's important. How will you find out? You won't know. You're not telepathic. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.